Hey guys, no Zoup for you here, and this is my first World of Warships video. I played the game a lot, and at this point I absolutely love it. Today I'm going to give a look at the Cleveland-class cruiser with my general thoughts and how I feel it should be played. This is probably the most popular cruiser in the game. First off, a little history about the Cleveland. 27 of the nearly 12,000-ton Cleveland-class light cruisers were commissioned starting in 1942. At 600 feet in length with an armament of 4 6-inch gun batteries, 12 5-inch gun batteries, and numerous anti-aircraft guns, they saw varied action in the Pacific Theater. Highly effective against aircraft, ships, and shore batteries, the USS Cleveland, lead ship of the class, had a successful time in World War II, earning a Navy unit commendation and 13 battle stars. All ships of this class survived the war, though they would not see much more service. Despite being a smaller cruiser, the Clevelands needed a crew that equaled that of the much more powerful and larger Baltimore-class heavy cruisers. In World of Warships, the Cleveland class is a Tier 6 cruiser, and the first of the modern World War II cruisers that can be acquired. Its predecessor, the Tier 5 Omaha, was a post-World War I design and the oldest class of cruiser still in service at the start of World War II. Where the Phoenix and Omaha have torpedoes, the Cleveland-class cruiser has none, relying solely on its main guns to take out its prey. Supplementing its formidable armament is a fairly robust anti-aircraft array and a scout plane. The Cleveland-class cruiser is a bit of an oddball as far as its abilities. I don't mean that in a bad way. It's not fast and nimble enough to lead the charge, and it doesn't quite have the range that the battleships do to stay back and hurl shells from afar. It's very much a ship stuck in between roles, which kind of makes sense given its tier level and real-world role. In a sustained toe-to-toe battle with a battleship, survivability is nigh impossible. You can get a lot of shots on target, but if you find yourself in a broadside fight within 2 clicks of one, it's best to flee, which you should be able to do. Going toe-to-toe with a destroyer can be just as lethal, as you're a fairly large target for a salvo of torpedoes. Your turning radius of 800 meters is fairly significant, so keep that in mind. So what benefit do you have while playing the Cleveland? The Cleveland's main strength is damage per minute. You have a lot of guns, and they reload very, very fast. You can literally rain damage at decent ranges. So what role do you play as a Cleveland-class cruiser? Primarily, you're an escort for battleships and aircraft carriers. Your anti-aircraft guns offer both them and you protection along with your deck guns. When I play as the Cleveland, I usually immediately turn port or starboard and slowly close the gap at range on other ships that come into view, firing at a distance. This can be complicated though, as at that range the slow-flying 6-inch shells need ample lead time. Usually these ships are steaming full speed towards an objective, and they're fully engaged with other large ships off in the distance. As you close the gap, they likely won't see you until you land a barrage on them. That's when they wake up. So that's one strategy. Hang back, not quite as far out as the battleships because you don't have quite the gun range they have, and shell targets from afar. Slowly you'll join up with other larger ships. Safety in numbers, right? Not the most exciting strategy though. The other strategy was touched on earlier, and that is as an escort. Shadow battleships and higher tiered cruisers as they slowly make their way around the map. Usually enemy ships will go after the closest or the largest target. Once the battleships draw their fire away, you can open up freely on the aggressor. A broadside salvo from the Cleveland is a force to reckon with on ships of similar size. However, don't let it get to your head. Against battleships and larger cruisers, you can have a tough time landing those critical citadel hits. You will land shots, and a lot of them. The problem against battleships is they can take much more damage than you, and unfortunately, a salvo landing square on the Cleveland from a battleship will cause massive damage, whereas multiple salvos landing on a battleship will merely chip away at its armor. Due to the accuracy of the Cleveland guns and its high rate of fire and damage per minute, I've seen my hits go up significantly. With the Phoenix and Omaha, I'd average 60 or so hits in a round. With the Cleveland, I easily top out over 100. Of course, I also last longer in rounds now. One problem with the Cleveland to keep in mind is the turrets are prone to damage. Very often you may find yourself with your main gun battery destroyed, leaving your capabilities severely limited. I advise using some coin to upgrade them so you're less likely to take a critical hit. The Cleveland's survivability is more than those of the lower tiered cruisers, but the size of the ship and guns gives you a false sense of security. If you find yourself in a 2-on-1 situation, it's best to tuck tail and run. You're not as powerful as you think you are, despite how cool and lethal the ship looks. The Cleveland is very much a mid-tier cruiser, and is stuck in the middle as far as role capabilities. Not suited to charging straight into battle due to the lack of defensive torpedoes, nor suited to hanging in the very back and bombarding due to a lack of gun range when compared to battleships. Your biggest asset are your fast-firing guns. This light cruiser is best suited to escorting larger ships and striking when enemy ships are preoccupied. Think of yourself as a support. Not everyone can be a leader. As far as being overpowered, I don't really buy that. Something is overpowered when anyone can pick up something and excel at it. there's still a way you need to play the Cleveland. You can't just waltz down Main Street with it and expect to take out half the enemy team single-handed. So there you have it, my views of the Cleveland. Overall, I really like this ship and it's well worth the grind to unlock. I can definitely see why so many people enjoy it. Hope you all enjoyed this video. I'll be putting out more in the near future, so if you liked it, give me a follow. Zoup out.